Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a bunch of Call of Duty gameplay for you, but probably only from one or two games. I wanted to keep it really simple because a lot of you seemed very happy with my last old school commentary, and that made me nostalgic for a past that no longer exists. However, the emotions attached to Call of Duty and the past that I had with it very much so do exist, and they motivate me to keep coming back to Call of Duty. So today, I wanted to talk about nostalgia in general and how it has affected my journey in gaming. I figured there was no better medium to do this in than a standard old school Call of Duty gameplay commentary, so without any further ado, let's jump into the main topic. Nostalgia is a sentimental longing or affection for the past that's most often associated with positive personal associations. It's an emotion that I've been feeling a lot lately as I'm slowly returning to the Call of Duty scene. As many of you know, I've had some pretty horrific health issues in the recent past that have prevented me from gaming, or if I did game, it would take a considerable toll on my body. Thankfully, I've conquered most of them, and I'm currently in an uphill climb to rebuild my body. Doing so has allowed me to do many more activities, including gaining a lot more gaming time. And when the gaming time started coming back, I initially expected myself to be reborn like a butterfly emerging from the chrysalis, and that I would pursue entirely different types of content styles, or at least different types of games. A lot of you I know are console gamers. I have been sucked into the PC gaming space really bad. It's an addiction I'm trying to kick. And all of you have seen me be profoundly unfaithful to the Call of Duty series over the last few decades. I think I'm one of the very few COD YouTubers that has consistently tried to upload a wide variety of games and tackle some topics that are uncommon for a gaming channel. When the recovery initially started, I had very little interest in returning to Call of Duty. I thought to myself, why would I get my body back and go back to doing the same thing I was doing before? Wouldn't I want to pursue new games, new interests, and new topics? And I'd hope to find footing in new lands and reinvent myself, and perhaps due to some conditioning of the algorithm, or perhaps my own lack of experience in these other lands, I never quite found that footing. It didn't pan out, or at least it hasn't panned out yet. More recently, I've actually been feeling a somewhat nostalgic feeling about Call of Duty. I felt an urge to return to playing it simply because it's something that I'm familiar with. It reminds me of good times that I had in the past, because Call of Duty connects me to actions in the past that I now look more fondly towards than I do towards the future. When I get on and play Call of Duty and do well, it makes me feel like I'm myself again. It makes me feel whole, somewhat accomplished, to have retained all of these skills over many years and hardships. And nostalgia connects me to a time in my past where I was much happier about my life circumstances. Oddly, instead of demotivating me about the future or depressing me about the present, this actually has motivated me to be more active in the present to try to build a better future, and it kind of got me thinking about why I played so much Call of Duty to begin with. I think it was the perfect online game for me because I started making content in 2008. Yes, I know I'm literally a dinosaur, and even though I gamed a lot, I was never particularly good at gaming. That's always been my secret. My skills have always been more than a little bit subpar. Certainly not a competitive MLG pro, which dominated the scene during the early Halo days of content creation. Instead, I was the kind of guy that struggled to do a little bit better than break even in public lobbies. What you saw here on YouTube were the good games, and not often the big failure games. Call of Duty, thankfully, was an extremely casual game, and still is, unless you're a content creator or pro gamer or trying to go pro or something. COD's one of the most casual games that there are, and it was a game that allowed me to hop on and feel like I was fighting on even footing with my peers. Not only my friends in real life, who we all played COD like religiously for years, but other peers online. People very much so like me. I was in college at the time, other college students getting into console gaming, and this feeling of equalness actually motivated me to play more, and it caused a significant improvement in my gaming skills, so I'm probably a little bit better than average now, minus the paralytic hands or whatever. And Call of Duty is ultimately the game that shaped me into the gamer that I am today, and my god, do I ever love gaming just as much now as I did then. When I load into a multiplayer game, I genuinely feel like a veteran warrior returning to the battlefield. It gives me a sense of connection with my online avatars and their abilities. It feels like I've decided to step into the Roman gladiatorial arena and begin jousting with other players to prove who truly is the best. And I love that everybody else loads up in this digital world with their different avatars, but they all have the exact same abilities that I do, or at the very least, they have the same choices of abilities that I do. We might pick different kits or loadouts, but we're all playing the same game, and I kind of love that. After we've got what we wanted, how we want to customize ourselves, we get to load up on a virtual battlefield and compete to see who's best. And even though it's not virtual reality, I feel like it's stepping into a version of Ready Player One. It gives me that same sense of identity, of competition, of mastery, entertainment, and I love pushing myself to my own limits. I was always a fan of a more competitive match or a close match than a total blowout. Definitely the kind of guy that would end combat online or against people in sports or just regular combat with people IRL, exhausted, sweating, mentally expended, even beat up or bleeding, but feeling great knowing that I was able to push myself to the limit and go toe-to-toe with a equal or at least near equal. The competition was always more fun for me than the end result itself. Before moving on to the next section, we're going to change gears a little bit here and give a shout out to one of my sponsors, Gamer Advantage Glasses. If you've watched this far in the video, you're probably a super fan. You've probably seen me wearing these glasses in no less than 100 different videos. They're a great sponsor. Love the product. They are the best value gaming glasses you can get on the market, as in they get the best performance for the lowest price ratio. Also, your insurance will pay for them. If you need prescription lenses, you can get these in prescription for free and your insurance will cover it. There's details on their site. Love these products. Wear them all the time. When you see me streaming, gaming, even doing commentary, they're on for a reason. Because while I might still be a gamer and I might be nostalgic for the past, one thing that has changed is my vision. I need some prescription lenses today, and I need a little bit of eye protection to prevent eye strain. So if you're interested in Gamer Advantage glasses, I have a coupon linked down there below, and also other reviews with more details. But let's get back to the main point of this commentary now that I've hit you with a product, and there's nothing more nostalgic than shilling products on YouTube, right? But what I like about gaming is that competition, that sense of pushing. I feel like a warrior on a battlefield. And what I like even better about this, and the reason I chose the gladiatorial arena example, is that connecting it to public creative endeavors like YouTubing only adds value to me. Creating videos and then posting them on YouTube is simply a public extension of that gaming avatar. I'm no longer an anonymous warrior, just a grunt, or could be a bot or AI loading up in Call of Duty, slogging it out in the training fields for nothing than my own amusement. Instead, I feel like well, obviously have become, but even before any sort of subs or followers or gains here, it felt like I was a public figure that everybody was watching or could opt to watch, like one of the more popular gladiators that would get sponsors, by the way. That was a fantastic thing about Roman history. The gladiators would actually get sponsors. But it's nice to have, even if I failed completely, even if none of this channel or anything ever took off, it's a really nice feeling to throw your hat in the public arena and just say YOLO. I'm going to gamble it all on my own skills and own performance. Here we go. I love that feeling. I love the fact that there's an audience, that people are watching. They can be cheering or they can be booing, honestly, but it just feels good to be seen. And in a minor way, it makes me feel like I'm leaving a lasting mark on the world. Yes, this sounds a little bit ridiculous. It sounds like I'm overbuilding myself, and I do realize that in a video about nostalgia, I'm actually talking quite a bit about personal identity. But the reality is that I'm nostalgic for that identity that I chose. And that's what's very unique about this situation, is that I didn't get an identity here on YouTube or doing gaming or this whatever that is that I'm doing with my life by the circumstances of my birth or who I am or what I look like or where I came from. But in gaming and in creation, I can choose a blank slate and build from there. And that's something that I love. I was given a choice to become whatever I wanted, and I think I chose an identity that suits me quite well. This gaming identity supplanted me with a lot of fantastic times in the past, great memories, events, experiences, launches, travel, meeting people, fun, doing and trying different things. A lot of the great times that I've had in the past were intrinsically connected to the gaming career. Some of the most fun things I've done in my entire life revolved around being a competitive gamer, and it truly changed my life in a good way. However, being sick and being unable to game for so long robbed me of a part of that identity. I felt like I had lost part of myself, and it was objectively true that I did, but playing Call of Duty again now reminds me of why I chose this path in life. Some people get stuck in nostalgia, longing for a past that no longer exists and can never come back. And I think that's a toxic mindset. It ultimately motivates people to be somewhat regressive, and I don't mean politically, I just mean in their life. I think it's much better to be pragmatic about the future. And for me, it's been good to know that the feelings of nostalgia around Call of Duty and returning to gaming and reassuming that old identity don't motivate me to try to recreate the past as it was, but rather it's motivated me to try to change the shape of my own future. It's not going to be the same future, it's not going to be the same past, the same identity, the same anything, but the opportunity is there and I can see the path and see why I even started on this path to begin with. And that's definitely gonna be Call of Duty now. I'm feeling weirdly better about Call of Duty. I wasn't feeling great about it the last couple of years, but recently I feel like COD, at least in my brain, is kind of coming back. And it probably won't be forever. I can't live my life in a game, and certainly I'll burn out on Warzone and Black Ops 6 at some point, and I'll have to find something else to play, but at least I'll be in a much healthier mental state to push forward to that new place, knowing why I chose the old place to begin with. So it's a little bit of a rambling commentary. It's a little bit of a life update, just how I'm feeling about things. You can see me from the smile, all the smiles here. It's very positive. It's something really clicked in my head a couple of days ago of why I was doing this thing that I do. And since then, it's all been positive revelations. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something useful. If you did, instead of liking, favoring, and subscribing, you should click the show more to see the details down there and check out some of the reviews on these glasses, because I'm telling you, you gotta take care of your eyes. You don't want to go blind. You don't want to burn out your eyes gaming. It's absolutely not worth it. Drifter out.